Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first round of Season 11 here in Division 2 at the Silverstone Circuit for the British Grand Prix. Yeah, new season, uh, new fights, new rivalries, and a new game for drivers to get used to. And I am very, very excited for this season. It's been a very long wait. Of course, we had the test race last week, sorry, to get ourselves into the swing of things, test out some of the new settings. Regarding those, so far the red flags are still disabled because of a glitch where they keep getting deployed after a restart. So you have a red flag and then you restart and you immediately get another red flag. So yeah, until that is patched, we cannot use red flags. Outside of that, we are also, of course, aware of the tire wear glitch, which impacts tire wear differently between cars. So, for example, the Red Bull has the best tire wear, and the Ferrari, on equal performance, that is, has much worse tire wear. I think the testing resulted in about a 10% difference over a stint distance at I think it was tested at Spain. I'm not sure how big the difference is at other tracks, but yeah, 7 seconds, 10% difference in tire wear, which ends up being about a 7-second difference for in terms of driver pace, which was tested by esports drivers. I'm not sure how much that translates to pace for lower levels of league racing. Of course, these guys here are not esports level, and neither are the guys in Division 1 for that matter. So I think the difference will be less extreme between the cars. Yeah, we talked about using the F1 World Car, but ultimately drivers prefer to stay in the normal cars and just deal with the fact that yeah, some of them have an unfair disadvantage. The patch is expected very soon, so hopefully by round 2 of the season, patch is expected on the 10th of July, I think. That's what the next that's where Codemasters said they would likely bring the next patch, and yeah, hopefully the unequal tire will be patched with that patch. So yeah, just a quick disclaimer that of course, I mean, some leagues have indeed cancelled races or moved to the F1 World Cup. We have decided against that. Yeah, so we will just enjoy. We'll keep that in mind, but we will enjoy today's race anyway, and yeah, just have a bit of fun though in the end. That's what we're all here for, and you can still have fun even if the competition is not 100%. It's still, I think, at the end of the day, if you're not at such a small skill gap like where the F1 esports guys are, where they're all so small, so close to the theoretical human limits of what is possible within the game. Like in this division, the field spread is a bit larger, and I think it won't make the difference in the end. I think it will still come down to who is the best driver in the end. So yeah, and the first lap being put in at 28.047 in the Alpine by Thog, and he is followed by the Mercedes of Menaceman, who is actually just starting a lap. So following that is Ewek, who is about to finish one as well, and he puts in a full second faster lap time than Thog, 27.0, and immediately beaten by Wong Fi in the AlphaTauri Racing as the reserve driver tonight, 26.939, Jules Valentine, 27.2, and then we have Singh, 26.8, beating Wong Fi to a provisional pole position here, and then with Ferrari off after Stowe, that is wasted. Okay, so he has had made a mistake there. He's on his way back to the pit lane. I believe the next car across the line, Marcelius in an outlap, so after that is Sean Moole, who is about to finish his lap, going through the final corner here. Going through Club, and over the line will be a 26.680 and pole position for now for the Williams driver. And then we have Marco following suit, and he is putting in a 26.732, so very close to top right now, half a tenth. And Gabri goes faster than both of them there in the Ferrari, 26.478. Beating Sean Moole by just below 2 tenths. Meanwhile, Menaceman, of course, last season's Drivers' World Champion, about to finish his first qualifying lap in the official part of this season, of course, test race last week. 26.499, and Menace Man puts himself into P2. A very solid qualifying lap from here, which is not usually a strength. So if he's already up there in qualifying, that's very promising. Then we have the McLaren of Marcelio, who is about to finish a lap. He's just finished the second sector. He's actually on purple, apparently, 103.2. Although I'm never sure if the purple sectors in this game are lying to you. I think they are. Because I think that the way it works is you see 5 drivers in your top left on the on the driver's POV on your on-screen display, and you see the 2 drivers ahead of you and the 2 drivers behind you. And indeed, Marcelio, oh no, 26.9, he's not far off actually, so it might actually have been purple. But yeah, as I was explaining, you see the 5 drivers on your top left, the 2 ahead of you and the 2 behind you, or if you are like first and you see the 4 behind you, for example. And purple works in this game by basically comparing your time to the time of the 5 you see in the top left, so the 5 including yourself. So yeah, purple doesn't work the same way it does in real life, which is a very weird decision by Codemasters. I mean, I assume it's a decision. I don't think they would just mess it up somehow. That doesn't seem like a thing you could really mess up that much. Thank you, chat, for loving my accent. Apparently, yeah, I hope it's not too distracting, because English is not my first language. I am from Germany. I like to think I speak English quite well, but yeah, of course, accent. Can never quite with it, can you? So, yeah, Rico on his first lap of the session here. Of course, in a new team, most players in a new team as well. 27.246 purple, but as I explained, not sure if that is actually purple. We can actually check. 27.2 by Rico will compare to Gabri. 27.5, so they're actually massively up. But I think I saw him making a mistake there through Luffield, just behind like the pause window. So he was 3/10 up on Gabri in the first sector, but we'll see if he can carry that all the way to the line. Of course, full flat through Corps now in this game, that's just awesome, honestly. These cars have so much downforce on this game and so much turn-in. Also interesting that he's apparently in 4th gear on the steering wheel and 6th gear on the telemetry data at the bottom. Nice little glitch that you can discover. Does it? Okay, but if you go onto the onboard, it does actually say the correct gear. But then if you have this director camera on board from the side, it shows the gear indirectly. So I guess what happens there is the game right now is not like changing the steering wheel for my POV because it doesn't need to, so it's saving computing power by doing that. 26.640, and I think the glitch that's happening is it forgets to then change it when it goes onto a POV where that's visible. So that's interesting. Wasted, the only driver in this lap who's not session, was not completing the lap yet, and he is of course on currently down P13, 103.9. So that is I think a bit slower than we saw earlier, if I remember correctly. He did not go purple, so oh, and Wasted, the same mistake as last time! Loses it on the exit of Stowe. Just too eager on the throttle. So that means once again Wasted is not gonna complete this lap time. Or well, if he does, it won't be a yeah, even if he does, he'll be P13, so it doesn't really matter, he's gonna go back to the pits anyway. Meanwhile, Jules Valentine's about to start a lap here. Wongfi is starting the lap. Sink is up by half a tenth in the first sector. And a very close grid at the moment here. 26.478 and 26.499 by Gabri and Menaceman, currently in the front row, Ferrari and a Mercedes. Of course, it is worth mentioning, Gabri will have a significant disadvantage in the race being in the Ferrari. Same goes for Sinky and the Haas. Those are the 2 cars which are most affected by this tire wear issue, and then the best cars are the Aston Martin and Red Bull. So Rico and Marco actually have very good chances for a especially later in the stint. I think you'll notice that the Ferraris are going to be dropping off crazy. I think it's actually based on at least that's how I've heard, and what I think it is that the equal cars use the tire wear from the realistic performance. So that would explain why Ferrari and Haas are so bad, because they are actually bad in real life. And Sink, 26.2 onto pole position. Yeah, the Haas and Ferrari are bad at managing the tires in real life, so it would make sense if they are bad in managing the tires on realistic performance. but of course it is not supposed to be the case on equal. And yeah, so I think what's happening is it incorrectly uses the tire wear numbers from realistic performance for equal cars, giving an advantage to cars that are better at managing their tires in real life and therefore on realistic performance as well. But yeah, should be from my limited understanding of coding, does sound like a rather simple fix, so hopefully it will be fixed in the next patch. As Marco is gaining massively, close to half a second, 1 or 2.7 in the middle sector. So Marco could be on. Yeah, he could even get close to Sing's lap here. 5/10 would put him within striking distance of pole position. So let's see. The Red Bull driver, number 66. Lots of curb being used there through Vale, and now into the final corner. Onto the Hamilton straight, 26.580. Lost a lot of time in the final sector there. And he's only in P4. Well, only. It's still a very respectable lap time. Meanwhile, Menaceman on a lap as well. Has to lift just a bit through curbs and still has a bit of a slide in the exit, so not ideal for him. And now Ewek, 26.168, takes pole position away from Menaceman is disconnected in the middle of his lap. Well, that's really annoying for him, so he's gonna have to rejoin quickly and hoping to get one more run in. We have 6 minutes to go, so he should be able to get one more run in. But still, that would be very annoying for him, I think. And Sean Moore, meanwhile, gaining close to a 10th here in the middle sector. In front of him is Wong Fei, who is not improving at the moment. Meanwhile, Jules Valentine, is he on a push lap at the moment? I'm not sure. I don't think he is. He's very low in the air. Yeah, back to the pits. Same for Sean Moore. Sonny on a slow lap. Flock on a slow lap. Wasted on... well, what will be his third attempt at a hot lap in this session. And hopefully the first successful attempt. Third time's the charm, what they say. So we'll stay on board with the Ferrari man here. And number 7, Kimi Räikkönen's number for a long time. Only recently became available in the Formula 1 game, of course, when the Iceman retired. And Wasted's gonna want to do that legacy proud. Wants to attack his teammate probably, I would say. 26.478 by his teammate Gabri in P3. We'll see where Wasted slots in. I think if I remember correctly, also in the test race Wasted did not put in the quality time, so he's seems to be a consistent struggle with him that he's not getting the lap together. 3.5 for Wasted now in the middle sector. And Gabri puts in a new fastest lap, 26.048. And now Wasted through the Fiat Stoke corner for him, and he's finally managed it for the first time on a hot lap in this session. And so he will, hopefully now, one more corner to go, complete this lap, and yes he will, Wasted over the line, 27.417 and goes P12. So he might have been a bit careful on that lap, just making sure he gets anything in. But what about Thog? Is he currently improving? Yes he is, by 6/10, massive improvement from the Alpine. And he's gonna want to beat Wasted. If he can, he was fine. I think he was improving by enough there in the middle sector at least. But let's see if he can bring it over the line. And to the lines at 27.421, and no he can't. He is 4 thousandths of a second behind the Ferrari. Very, very close there. Meanwhile, Gabri, the only other car on track. Gabri, Wasted and Thog, but they are all on their way to its Menaceman now back in the lobby, so he will get one more run in. I think, yeah, I think all of these guys are now just on the way back in the pit lane, and yeah, we're just waiting for the final laps in the session to start. 3.5 minutes to go, so people should be going out soon. And at the moment, Gabri, I'm not sure, I don't think Gabri will get another lap. I think Gabri is now done. I think he's used all 3 of his tires. Even if he does get back in the pits in time, it's gonna be, yeah, even if he tries, I'm not sure he'll make the line if he comes back in the pits now. Well, he should make the line, but I'm not sure if he has tires left. So we'll see. Marcello now out of the pits, the first one. And he's followed by Jules Valentine, as you can see in the track map, the Alfa Romeo leaving the pit lane. One of the Mercedes going as well, either Menaceman or Sonny. And I think the rest will follow soon, 3 minutes to go, so they can't wait too much longer. Marcello actually, why is he so low on the ERS? And same for Jules Valentine. They just came out the pits. Is that a glitch? A visual glitch on my side? Is it a glitch by the game that they have ERS so low? That's not normal, is it? Sully has 100% coming out the pits. That is very unusual. That surely, I mean, it must be a glitch of some kind. Not sure if it's I hope it's just a visual glitch on my time where they have, well, where the ERS percentage being shown incorrectly. But if they are actually this low on ERS, they are not going to be improving, surely. Because they'll run out of ERS by the time they finish the first sector. And even if he's braking, it seems to stay at 14%, so I assume it's some kind of glitch. Yeah, there we go, now it's jumped to 100. Okay. And Jules Valentine will do the same? Yes, it will, okay. So that's just a visual glitch on my side where the ERS is being shown incorrectly. Oh, Marcelio disconnected! Right as he was starting a lap! Meaning that his qualification is now over. He will not get out in time for another run. Jules Valentine invalidates at turn 1, so he's done as well. He might get one more run in if he manages to get to the line in time. But even then, he will be on worn-out tires. Sully starting his final lap now, 27.0 at the moment. Wasted retiring in the pit, so he's done as well. Marco starting a lap now. Wongfi starting a lap now. Rico on an outlap here. So everybody, apart from Marcelio, now out on track. Gabri has gone out again as well. Ewek coming around the final corner. He has to start a hot lap and... Okay, his ERS was also shown incorrectly. I was worried for a moment. Marco using a lot of curb there, I think that was, on the exit of turn 4. And we'll see how that impacts his first sector time, probably negatively. Indeed, half a second down, Marco with a massive mistake in the first sector. And that will really hurt him, I think. So the first one who will come to the line is Jules Valentine, but as I said, he's invalidated. And following him is Bias Gabri, who's on an outlap, so after that we've got... Fogg on an outlap. Marco. Marco will be the first one to complete a hot lap on his final run here. Oh, Willie! He seems to be slowing down, yes! He's cutting the corners in an attempt to make the line, so he can have one more go. So Marco has given up on this run. Wongfi will be the first one to complete an actual hot lap here then. And Wongfi finishes sector 2, he's up by 3 tenths. I'll quickly invite Marcelio back into the lobby. I think he is not got an invite showing anymore. There we go, game invite sent. And now we focus on the qualifying again. Wongfi up by 3 tenths, 26.669. Let's see how far up the standings can go. Into the top 3 maybe. Over the line to 26.221 indeed. P3 for Wongfi, of course. Ewek now to the line. Can he steal position away from Gabri? No, he cannot. Stays in P2, he improves slightly. Menace Man has slowed down. Marco's back in the pit lane, so he'll not be improving either. Sink is coming up the line, so is Rico. What about Rico? Is Rico improving? I haven't seen the delta times. He's up by 8 tenths, massive improvement from Rico, and he goes to the line 25.602, and that will surely be a position, right? Sink now 26.056. Gabri, the only one at the front runner still on the run, and he invalidates. Gabri's done as well, and that's it, I think. Unless Sully isn't improving. Jules Valentine is on a lap still, but he is down by 68 thousandths after middle sector. So he needs to find a lot of time in the final sector to beat anyone. He has a 3 tenths gap to Marco. And that will not help. And a spin now at the final corner. And that's it. Qualifying is done, the results are in. And it's Rico on pole, followed by Bias Gabri, Sink, Ewek, Wongfi, Shawmul, Menace Man Marco, Jules Valentine, Marcelio, Sully, Wasted in 12 and Thog at the back end of the grid. A very, very small gaps here from P2 onwards, but Rico at the front, 4 tenths faster than anyone else with a 25.602. Very impressive stuff by the Aston Martin man. And, beating Gabri by, over 4 tenths there. So massive gap at the front. So promising, promising start to the weekend for, well, not weekend actually, to the Wednesday evening for Rico, getting pole in dominant fashion. Although well, he did have to gain a massive amount of time in the final run there to pull in that lap. He wasn't anywhere near pole position earlier. Had made mistakes in his earlier laps, and yeah, but in the end he's done enough. Gotten himself on the pole, and then look at these gaps from Gabri to Ewek. Half a tenth covering P2 to P4. Wongzi not far behind, and Sean Moore only 12 thousandths behind Wongzi. Mannesman in P7, Marco in P8, Jules Valentine in P9, Marcelio in P10. Also very close between Marcelio and Jules Valentine, they're half a tenth separating those two, and then a tenth to Sully in P11. Wasted and Thog in 12th and 13th, separated by only 4 thousandths of a second, and a field spread of 1.8 seconds in total. And if you remove Rico from that, it's only 1.4. So yeah, so from P2 to last, only a gap of just under 1.5 seconds. So we are in for a potentially very exciting race there, as the field seems to be very, very close today. Mannesman is asking for an invite. I thought he was still in, but I don't know. Well, I've sent him an invite, I don't know. I thought he was still in, I thought he rejoined on his own. Well, we are now waiting for the drivers to decide on their strategy to get this race underway. The timer has started. It's counting down from 10. And there we are. We are on the grid. No formation lap. We're gonna jump straight into the race. And it's lights out. Oh, well, just for me, not for the drivers. It's oh, a full course safety has been deployed immediately. That's a very interesting glitch. Well, that was anticlimactic. Yeah, I think that this could be a restart. I'm not sure why that's happened. Well, we are gonna have to restart the lobby here. So yeah, gonna have to be a lobby restart. That's a very interesting glitch. I've seen this once before, but at the time I thought it was because of the formation lap, but we didn't have one this time, so I'm not sure what actually causes that now. If it's just random? Well, yeah, I'm just gonna open up the new lobby. Hopefully this doesn't cause too much of a delay. I'll do my best to get everyone into the new lobby as quickly as possible. Right, that should be all the settings done. I will get the starting grid up on the stream. And once we have that set, we should be ready to go. Alright, there we go. It's all the drivers in. Grid editor. So, pole position was Rico, followed by Gabri. Third was Sync, fourth was Ewek, fifth was Wongfi, sixth was Sean Wool. Where is he? There we go. Seventh Mannesman, eighth was Marco, ninth was Jules Valentine, 10th was Marcelio, 11th was Sully, 12th was Wasted, and 13th Thog. Okay, do I have everything correct? Thog, Wasted, Sully, Marcelio, Jules Valentine, Marco, Mannesman, Shawmul, Wongfi, Ewek, Sync, Gabri, Rico. Yes, that's all correct. Confirm changes. And there we go. Should all be ready. I'll tell the drivers to ready up. Alright. Also pinged them to remember to load up their setup again. If they don't, they will be on default, which will be a pain. There we go. We're back on the grid. And yeah, just waiting for drivers to get ready now. Get the strategy in again, get the setups in again. And hopefully this time around we will have a normal race start where we don't immediately have a safety car being called out. Right. Yeah, I'm not sure if I should like tell people that when they can ready up or if they're just gonna do it on their own at some point. We don't normally have a rule that you have to wait, but I'm guessing people are now being like purposely not pressing ready up after they're done to give people time in case. Ah, there we go. Timer started. So yeah, we are ready for the race start. I hope the drivers are ready for the race start. And there we are, on the grid. The 5 headlights are on. And it's lights out for me. Drivers are lights out now. Race has started. No safety car this time around, so we are going. And it looks like Rick on the Hearts is a really good start at anyway. Pulls ahead of BS Gabri, who is battling with Sink over P2. Here Sink tries second round the outside, but he has to lift through turn 2, allowing BS Gabri to secure the position. So it's Rico leading from Gabri, leading from Sink, and then Wongfi up into P4. Shawmul followed by his teammate Ewag in P5 and 6. Menaceman in P7, battling with Marco, who's on the soft compound tire actually. So Marco being aggressive here, and he moves up into P7. Marcelio and Thok at the back. Thok actually with a spin! And Thok is down into P13. Very unfortunate for him. Not sure if he made contact with the driver, if he spun the zone, either way. Yeah, biggest winner of the start is Shawmul, is up 2, and Marco now getting past Ewag down into Cops. Up into P6, making good use of those softs as he needs to, of course. He's gonna have to get past people early before they start dropping off. Meanwhile, Gabri putting a big pressure on Rico here. Which also makes sense. Gabri with the tire advantage early on wants to make sure he gets ahead of Rico and can start pulling away. Make use of those mediums while Rico is going long on the hards, and Gabri pulls to the outside line down to Stowe. Can he go around the outside of the Aston Martin? No, he cannot. Rico pulls ahead on the inside, but maybe Gabri can have a go down into Vale. And indeed, Gabri has a little look, but he can't actually get alongside through the corner, and he goes deep. And now loses a lot of time, inviting Sink actually in. They make a bit of contact. Sink almost loses the car, but they are both thankfully still going. And Rico is now pulled ahead a little bit. Oh! And we've got the first screen freeze there, I think. Sink and Gabri now inside each other, and it looks like Sink is going to take advantage of that and pull around the outside. Oh, contact made! Sink on the inside line now through turn 4. And it looks like... Oh, contact made again! And this time Sink is around! Gabri left him the space, but Sink just understeered into him. And that's Sink down to P12. Gabri now up into P2 once again, with Shawmul following him. Marco meanwhile up into P4 already on those softs, gotten past Wongfi as well. Who's under big pressure from Ewag, of course. Wongfi on the hards. Just has to try and hold him for now. Sink with another spin on the exit now of turn 4, of the turn 5 even, sorry. So very unfortunate for Sink. He's gonna have to go for a big recovery now. Hopefully he doesn't have wing damage. As long as he doesn't have wing damage, he should still be able... I mean, he's 10 seconds behind the field, but he should still be able to catch up to some guys later on. If he does have wing damage and has to pit, he is pretty much fucked, I would say. 30-second pit lane. Yeah, you lose a lot of time in the pits here, so if you have to do a two-stop for whatever reason, your race is completely in the mud. Wasted and Jules Valentine battling for P9 now. Wasted moving ahead of the Alfa Romeo. And Gabri with his first time penalty already! Only 2 laps into the race. Both Gabri and Thok have 3-second penalties. Yeah, already. So not able to keep him between the white lines. Meanwhile, Marco, Rickon on the fast lap of course. But Marco beating immediately on those soft compound tires. He wants to go get past, he's a bit stuck, it seems, behind Shawmul here. Currently in second gear according to the in-game steering wheel. At about, what, 300 kph, that's interesting. Very long gearing on the Red Bull, it seems. Now the DS open. Gabri's under big pressure from Shawmul and probably also from Marco as Shawmul pulls to the inside. And he does get past. Meanwhile, Marco waits for a better opportunity, it seems. Doesn't want to go for the move at the same time as Shawmul is doing it. Ewag gets past Wongfi as well. So yeah, now that DS is open, we will be seeing a lot of overtakes, I think. DS is insanely powerful in this year's game. Which is also why it's so crucial that Rico has already pulled a 1.8 second gap to Shawmul, of course, helped by the battling of Shawmul and Gabri. So those two are now under pressure to catch back up to him. They can't battle too much here. Might even be smart to let Marco pull ahead and to stay in his DRS and hope that Marco catches back up to Rico. As Marco now pulls alongside Gabri. And he might get 2 in 1 here. Yellow flags for Sink at Corps. And Marco does get 2 in 1, gets past both Shawmul and BS Gabri at once. BS Gabri on the inside of Shawmul. Contact made, but Gabri has managed to save the car, so he's still pointing in the right direction. Now Marco up into P2 and can start chasing after Rico. And it should be a massive tire advantage in favor of Marco. Softs against hards. Even after 3 laps, Marco should still be significantly faster. And he has put a new fast lap in again. So Shawmul and Gabri now will probably be happy to stick behind Marco and let themselves be carried back towards Rico and back into the DRS train of the leader. which would be bad news for Ewe actually, as he will then, yeah, his best chance to get back on the train there is then battling. Otherwise, once you're out of the train, especially at a track like Silverstone, we have two very long DRS zones. DRS is so crucial. And Management going for a move on Wongfi now. Of course, using his tyre advantage. He's on the inside line. Went a bit over the white lines there. Might have been a track limit warning. And Management trying to hold it around the outside through Luffield there. And they're still side by side on the exit now, down to Cops. Management is slightly ahead on the outside line. Will Wongfi stick his nose in there? I think he will. They're still side by side. Management leaves some space. Good respectful driving, but it might have been a warning there. And Wongfi now coming back at him. Down into Maggots and Beckett, and Wongfi indeed has pulled ahead of the Mercedes driver. So both Mercedes still stuck behind him, it seems. Sully on the soft tire as well, so he is probably being held up quite a bit here. Wants to get past those two. Marco's almost within the S range of Rico now, 1.1. Just needs to gain a little bit more. Sean Moore did not go for the move. Yellow flags in the S section for Thork, who has lost it. On his own, I would assume, since nobody was near him. But yeah, the gap between Sink, Thork and the rest of the field ever increasing as they keep making more mistakes there at the back. So those two are having a really rough time right now. Marco still not quite in the S range of Rico, so he's gonna be under pressure for Sean Moore now. Are those softs already starting to show some signs of wear? Could be. Maybe it's an opportunity for Sean Moore to slingshot past Marco and get close to the S range of Rico that way. And indeed, Sean Moore is going to go for the move here, surely up the inside. Although Marco seems to have him covered on the outside line. And now Marco switching to the inside for Luffield, of course, as it's now a right-hander. And Marco has stayed ahead of Sean Moore for now. But the gap to Rico has increased slightly again. And Marco is very low in ES actually, which, well, Gabi is not looking that much better either. Yellow flags again for Thork on the exit of turn 4 there, of the arena section. And now Marco dropped below 10%, so Sean Moore will see his ERS flashing, and he knows that Marco is vulnerable, and he's gonna use some overtake, and this time the move should be rather easy. He's following very closely, and he will get past with the ERS here, and indeed he will. Sean Moore moves up into P2. Marco now has his slotted behind him. Sean Moore 1.3 behind Rico. 1.2. Maybe Sean Moore can push a little bit now through the first sector to get within 1 second by the DRS detection zone. If he just used a bit of ERS, but Rico, look at Rico's ERS, 93%. He hasn't used anything at all. He has been very comfortable in the position he's been in. He hasn't had to use anything to keep those guys away from him. So, yeah, Rico looking very strong right now. And of course, you have to know, he's on the alternative strength. He's the only one, well, him and Wongfi actually are the only ones, on the hard compound tire. So, as the stint goes on, they will only get faster in comparison to the other guys here, and then probably also after the pit stop, they will have an advantage, as they will be going on to, well, either mediums or softs. Either one will be better than the hards they're on right now. So if Rico is already able to stay in P1 this easily, early on in the stint, well, that's a good sign for later on in the race. Will be interesting as well to see what strategy Rico's actually going to go for there. As he goes wide on the exit of Cops. That might have been a track limit warning. Yeah, I think the most popular strategy this game still is the hard, medium, medium hard. But the soft is not. It's definitely more viable now. The soft can be used sometimes, and from what I've seen at Silverstone, the medium soft strategy can actually be really, really powerful. So I'm interested to see if anybody's gonna go for that. I know a few drivers actually listen to the stream while racing, so maybe I have planted a thought in their head. I think Thok does, so that's what I know for sure. So if one of those guys goes for a medium soft, I will be taking full credit. At least if it works. If it didn't work, then I blame them. Of course, what could play into that to an extent is the different tire wears. It might be easier for the likes of Red Bull and Aston Martin as Wongfi gets past Management into turn 1. Interesting spot for an overtake. And surely now sends on his teammate, contact maybe with Mercedes, and wasted slips through as well. Not what you want to see. Toto Wolff is going to be smashing tables, but wasted with a bad exit on the on turn 3, allowing Management back through. But he is going to come back at him, and wasted in the Ferrari up the inside, down into the onto Brooklyn and Luffield, and wasted pulls ahead. Management drops down to P9. Although he hangs it around the outside, Management is still right there. He hasn't given up on this just yet. But can he stay alongside? Yes, he is still there for now, but now wasted superior straight line speed it seems. Pulls ahead of Menace Man up into P8. So, yeah, I mean, bit of teammate, well, a lack of teammate work there, but lack of teamwork I would say by Mercedes. Slowly sending it on his teammate and causing him to lose places. Yellow flags for Ewag, I think it is, who has lost it. Ewag losing it on the exits of Chapel, it seems. And he's dropped down to P10. Meanwhile, Shawmul is caught up to Rico, who has a rear locking moment in the final corner. And now Shawmul is in his DRS range, and Rico is not under pressure. Although, I mean, Rico's not really under pressure, is he? He's so high on the ES, I'm surprised he hasn't burned some of it, just to make sure he stays far enough ahead of Shawmul to not allow him into DRS range. So Rico seems perfectly happy to allow Shawmul to have DRS. Although Shawmul, yeah, he does have DRS, but he's made a mistake and he's now outside DRS range. Meanwhile, Marco is happy to stay behind him. So Rico is now back in the clear. And with how low Shawmul is on ERS, if Rico wants him to stay out of the ERS, he will, I think. I think it's all down to whether Rico decides to push or not. Rico is in full control of this race. And if we'll only get better for him as we go through the race here. Meanwhile, Marco seems to be really getting some pace over Shawmul now, so we might have hit the point where the mediums hit their first cliff. Of course, the way the tire works in this game, it's actually a lot more reminiscent of how tire used to be in the early Pirelli days, in like the early 2010s, where the tires have cliffs. So they are fine for like 5 laps, then they hit the first cliff, then they're fine for 10 laps, and then they hit another cliff and they're rubbish. So of course, those like 5 lap, 10 laps, that's all depends on like track compound and how you drive and how much tire wear you put on, stuff like that. But just like as a general like example, the tire wear isn't as gradual as it was anymore, where you have like you lose a tenth every lap, now you lose a second every 10 laps, and in between that basically nothing, as Ewag has lost it again, this time through the final sector. As Jules Valentine is going for a move on Menace Man here. Side by side there, group respect in two of them leaving space. And Menace Man has managed the fender position, but he doesn't have DRS, so Jules Valentine has a good chance to move past him now. Down into turn 6, sorry, Brooklands, and Jules Valentine does indeed move past Menace Man, who's not having a good race by his standards, I would say. Down in P9. He would have been hoping for more on this on his first race of season 2, especially after the test race where he had a very good showing. Was running in podium positions the entire race, oh, well, not the entire race, but for a long time, and then he ran out of fuel with 1 lap to go, which dropped him down quite a bit. But at the moment, Menace Man not able to show that same pace after what I would say qualifying early on. The banker lap looked quite promising, and Shawmul now moving back past Marco to the ERS up into P2. I think we'll be seeing these guys swapping quite a bit. As it doesn't really make sense for them to defend Sync now with the time penalty again. I think that's the second one already, or is it his first? It is indeed his first. Meanwhile, Fogg already has 9, Gabi has 3. Oh, Marco actually going for a move on Shawmul down to turn 1 on the Hamilton straight here. That's interesting. Not really a overtaking opportunity usually, but Marco makes it work, and Shawmul is down to P3. But was there even any point in that overtake? Because surely Shawmul now with the DRS can just fly right back past him. Menace Man now in the pits for a very early pit stop. I'm expecting hard compound tires and an extreme undercut. Shawmul dropping the rear end on the exit, and now vulnerable to BS Gabi. Marco seems to be safe up ahead, and BS Gabi does move into P3. Menace Man and Sync both in the pit lane, and Shawmul has to concede to Gabi. Yeah, Menace Man coming back out in P11. Sync, I assume also onto hard compound tires, and no wing change from either, so it's a strategic pit stop. Forcing, not sure if Menace Man had a wing change or if he just decided to pit. But I think he did just want to go for an early pit stop here. The usual pit window for a medium hard is 13 laps, so yeah, no matter what tire you're on, you usually pit at lap 13. That's what the game suggests to you, and that is what works best if you are like if you ignore any kind of traffic. Scarby now is attacking Marco for P2, and he should be able to get past the Ferrari, and indeed he does, up into P2. Ferrari man taking the second place in his race, but Marco staying right beside him there, and Marco actually goes into the pit lane. So 9 lap on the soft, that's enough for him. And let's see what he goes on to. Will it be mediums, will it be hards? As Wasted gets past Sully, it seems, or Sully actually into the pits as well. So Sully and Marco at the same time, both on the soft compound tire, going into the pit lane now. And Marco's gonna go into hards. So what will Sully do? Will it also be hards for Sully? No, that's mediums! Mediums for Sully. So Sully going more aggressive with the tire strategy, which is actually quite interesting because in theory, in the Red Bull, Marco should be able to manage those tires better. But I mean, the Mercedes tire wear, from what if I remember correctly, is not that bad either. But of course, Red Bull with the best tire wear in the game. So Marco still being conservative and going for the hards, Sully being aggressive and going for the mediums. We'll see what works out better. Of course, there is about 7 seconds separating them, so I think even if the mediums work better, I think Marco will still end up coming out on top. But of course, with the undercut now, there is a real chance that Marco can get close to Rico even, I would say, because the undercut is quite powerful. With the way the tire works in this game, with the way the tires go off a cliff towards the end of a stint, or even after a few laps in the stint, where like fresh tires are a massive advantage over slightly worn tires, and then once the tires are like really used, you lose a lot of pace again. I think it's about 63% where the second cliff comes in, and I think the first cliff is at about 25. So at about 25% is where the tires first start losing pace, and then at about 61 is where they lose a lot of pace again. So yeah, all of these will be well above 25% by now. They might even get close to 61 by the end of the stints. Fog now with a spin and a penalty at the same time, and he is down to last place again. Yeah, Fog and Fog and Sink having a battle for the ages here in, well, not on track, but just spinning and passing each other that way every few laps. Very interesting to see. But commendable that it's still going at this point. I mean, I probably would have, in their position, I probably would have rage quit a long time ago. So have to give credit. Of course, one safety car and they could be right back in the fight. Although the penalties will make that difficult more than 12 seconds. So. Oh well, I mean, even with 12 seconds you can still get a good result in. Other people can make mistakes. You never know what will happen. Spears Gabi now is close to Sean Mooney and might go for a move on the Williams car driver. But no, Spears Gabi stays behind for now. We'll see either of them pit. Indeed, we will. Both of them pitting at the same time. Sean Moulin and Gabi following him. And Sean Moulin with a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. The track limit penalty at the same time. Wasted in as well. Wasted going for a double stack, so he's gonna drop behind Jules Valentine surely here. Interesting that Wasted decided to pit. He might, in his position, I would have just gone 1 lap longer. I mean, of course you lose a bit of time, but surely you won't lose more than you will lose in the double stack here. So, Beast Gabri on the hard compound. Of course, Sean Moon as well. And indeed, Jules Valentine jumping Wasted in the pit lane there, it seems. Ewok still out on track. Marco, where will he come out in relation to Sean Moon and Beast Gabri? And he is way ahead. He is miles ahead. Look how far he's close to 3 seconds ahead, which was the gap that they had to Rico. And of course he's only going to gain more time here. So we'll open the gap to the leader now, and I think there's a real chance that Marco will take the race lead once Rico pits. And of course the question is, can he then hold on to it? Rico will have a massive tire advantage, no matter what tire he goes on. I'm not sure if he'll go on to mediums or softs. I could see either one. Whatever, if he prefers to pit now and have less cars in his way. If he stays out for longer, he's also at risk of getting passed by Sean Moon and Gabri. So if he wants to go to softs and make those hards last for long, he will be in trouble of getting overtaken by those guys. And then maybe getting stuck behind them for a bit and losing time. But of course he will have the softs as a trade-off and have faster tires. Or he can pit now, go for mediums, and have a slightly less intense tire advantage, but he will have less cars to go through. So we'll see what strategy he decides to go for. And of course the gap is ever coming down there, 26.6 already, so Marco is indeed closing in quickly. And I expect Sean Moon and BS Gabi to be doing the same. And it could be crucial for Rico to get this right. If Rico calls this correctly, he should be shoo-in for a race win surely. But we'll see. Wongfi and Ewek also have both not pitted yet. Interestingly, Ewek, especially on the medium, still staying out. Where can I see that? Detail? Stops, there we go, yeah. Fogg, Ewek, Wongfi and Rico having made no pit stops yet. So interesting to see what Ewek is going to go for, because he is close to getting overtaken by the first cars already. Marco is not far away from his DRS range. So Ewek has already lost almost a full pit stop to the front runners here. He's going to come out, around where Marcelio is, I think? So, I'm not sure, I'm not very good at math. It's gap leader, Ewek 25, Marcelio 51, that's about 25 seconds, so yeah, that checks out. He'll be close to Marcelio after the pit stop. Oh, and Marco with a bit of a slide there. Through Stowe, but he's caught it just about. He is now within striking distance of Ewek. Has to make sure he gets past him, and then also stays ahead as well, so he has to probably wait until next DRS. If he passes him down into turn 3, he runs the risk of Ewek flying back fast with DRS, so the best strategy for Marco, I would say, is to wait behind for now, and then go for it on the DRS straight coming up. Should be a rather easy overtake, seeing as how close he is. He can't lose too much time behind him though, otherwise he is in risk of jeopardizing his chances of outtraining Rico. And Marco indeed does move past Rico, gets a penalty in the process! Marco, too far on the inside it seems, through turn 5, and gets a track limit penalty, 3 seconds added to his final race time. And that will also really hurt, because that means even if he does manage to stay ahead of Rico, he will lose the race win on penalties here. I mean, he does have Sean Moon and Gabi with penalties as well, so yeah, in terms of that he should be covered. I think Gabi has 3 and Sean Moon has 5, yes. So it shouldn't be an issue in terms of fighting for P2. Rico still staying out. Meanwhile, there is a storm going on outside my window. Hopefully this does not... Oh, Wongfi now with a fast and penalty. Hopefully that storm doesn't cause any problems for me, for the stream. Yeah, Wongfi coming in now. Probably mediums, I would say. I think lap 16 is too early for soft still. Oh, maybe just about. He did get a 5-second penalty as well, which will hurt him a lot. Ewek still out. And indeed, Wongfi onto mediums. I'm pretty confident that we will be seeing Ewek going into soft, because otherwise, why would you be staying out for this long? Wongfi there also messing up the release, it seems. That took a lot longer than it should have. He stood there for a long time and he didn't teleport either, so it wasn't a glitch, it seems. And Wongfi coming out in P10, I think, right behind Wasted. Could be close to the two of them. They're side by side in the pit exit, but Wasted just about pulls ahead. So yeah, Wongfi in P10. On fresh tires now, meanwhile. Oh, bit of ghosting going on here. Jules Verne getting past Sully that way. Putting pressure on Menaceman now. Battling over P6 here. Of course, Menaceman jumped a few people with that undercut, but it means that he's now in a position where he has to defend, as his tires are already worn a bit, while these guys behind him have much fresher tires and want to get back past him. Claim back the positions they lost to Menaceman undercut. And Jules Velton is going to go for it down to Cobb side by side now. And Menaceman decides to pull out. Jules Valentine takes position. But that wasn't a very smart overtake, I would say, because now Menaceman has DRS down into down through the hangar straight and down to Stowe, so Rico is now finally in the pit lane. So, Rico, we will see what strategy he goes on to. We'll see if it will be, I'm assuming, mediums actually. He stayed out this long to go for mediums. Interesting call. Menaceman going around the outside of Jules Valentine meanwhile. And we've got Ewek in the pits as well. Sully outbraking himself slightly into Vale. And Marco takes the race lead. Rico comes out in P3. He's been jumped by Sean Moore. Has he been jumped by BS Garby? No, he hasn't. So Rico in P3 there. But crucially, with no penalty, while Marco and Sean Moore both have penalties. Ewek has come out. Ewek's gonna go into soft tire just as I thought he would. So medium soft strategy for Ewek, going very aggressive, and he will be behind Marcelio. Might even be close to Sink here. Think he will be just ahead of him? Oh, just behind him maybe as they come side by side on the pit exit. And Sink is ahead, and now Ewek on the cold tires. Probably not going to be much of a threat to him. So yeah, Marco now leading the way ahead of Sharmul and then Rico. If Rico can just avoid a time penalty, he's already got his raceman in the back, even if he does not overtake anyone. Oh, Ewek does get past Sink, it seems. Around the outside, very nice move by Ewek. Despite cold tires, he's still able to make the overtake work, and now Sully under pressure from Wongfi here in the fight for P7. Sully going deep through Chapo, and Wongfi makes contact with Mercedes. Runs into his back, but now he flies past him. Meanwhile, Marco now under pressure from Sharmul, yellow flags for Thok it seems, who is slowing down for some reason. What is going on here? Well, we can also open up the racetrack. I'm interested to see Rico's warnings. He's on one warning, so Rico is not even anywhere near a penalty. Wongfi now with the fast lap of the race. Yellow flags for Thok in Sector 2. What is he doing? Is he slowing down here? Oh, he's in a puncture! That's why he's slowing down! Front left puncture for Thok. And yellow flags for Sink, who... Where is he? What is Sink doing? Meanwhile, Sharmul making a move for the race lead, and no! Contact made! Marco's been spun around! How unfortunate from a race leading position. Marco drops out the podium and down to P4, rejoins the track, ahead of Jules Valentine still. And now they're passing Thok with his puncture, who is barely able to move it seems. Thankfully he has Ghost since he's a lap down, so he won't be infecting anyone. And now Rico is right behind Sharmul, and Rico, with a massive amount of ERS, a DRS advantage, tire advantage, this should be the easiest overtake for a race lead you will ever see. And indeed, Rico flies past Sharmul in the straight. Sharmul has no answer, and Rico takes the race lead and is on his way to a race win, I would say. Thok still trying to call back to the pits. Wongfi getting past Menaceman there, side by side actually now. But Menaceman does not stay alongside him through on the outside line there through Stowe, opting to back out. Rico puts in the fast lead of the race while passing Sharmul as well, so yeah, really good showing from Rico there. He's already broken the DRS range almost, 9/10, might just about... Oh no, the DRS section was earlier, so maybe by the next DRS on you will have him. Wasted now right behind Sully. And Wasted hasn't been look up the inside. Sully opens the door for him actually. Thok is still not moving at all. The car is just completely stationary, almost sink now in the pits. Wasted is fun! While trying to overtake Sully, it seems. Not sure, maybe they made contact? But Wasted is round. And that's him out of contention for a top 8 finish for now at least. Still running in P9 though, hasn't actually lost a position from that spin. Sink going onto softs. Might try and go for a fast lap attempt here right in the end. And Thok, I mean, why is he so slow, the puncture? I mean, I know it's a puncture, but come on, the car can still move, surely. What is going on here? I mean, he's full throttle, it's not like he isn't trying. I mean, he is in 8th gear for some reason, maybe he should shift down. Maybe that would help. But yeah, I think he's been lapped twice now, while trying to get back to the pits. Rico now the fast lap the race again. He's already got a 5-second gap to Sharmul. Jesus Christ! I mean, has Sharmul made a mistake, or is... And no, shifting down has not changed anything. Jesus Christ! Why is this car so slow? What is wrong with this car? He can't move. The car is not moving anymore. He's at 7 kph and falling. And it's causing a yellow flag now, it seems. I mean, if he can't get that car moving, somehow he might cause a safety car. I mean, he's clearly trying. Yeah, and the car... He's been disqualified, yeah! Thog has been disqualified from the session for parking in the dangerous location. I mean... Oh, he has 2 punctures! The rear right and front... That's why the car wasn't moving. He had no traction in the rear. That does explain why he wasn't moving at all. Meanwhile, Sync... Sync... Going through braking board, speeding the pit lane, going through grass. What is going on there? I'm not entirely sure what is happening here. It's now retired from the race. And, well, those braking boards in the final corner are now destroyed, which... That's gonna be quite annoying, because the... Yeah, they're all destroyed. They're all gone. All of them, not just one. That is very, very annoying for people who don't run line. Gilles Valentine is caught up to Marco. So you might see a battle for P4 brewing here. They're both on 3 seconds of penalties. What they will both drop behind Management as of now. As Management is within 3 seconds of them. We're now on lap 21 of 26. Yellow flags in sector 1, which is Sync leaving the pit lane. That's, yeah, nobody actually crashing. Wong Fei putting big pressure on Management here. And they're alongside now. And moves around the outside. Gets the car stopped just about within track limits. Allowing Management to get back past Wong Fei, missing his braking point there. But he might have another go. No, he doesn't. Doesn't have the ES. What Management got the ES? Wong Fei passed him too early. And now Sync's AI parking up after turn 3. Actually, why does the... If you retire in the pits, why does the AI come back out? That is so stupid. The AI could just stay in the pits. I mean, that's the entire point of telling people to retire in the pit lane. But for some reason, the game very rarely actually lets them stay in the pit lane there. Now Marco and Gilles Valentine are inside the ghosting system. For some reason, being activated. Management now the 3-second time penalty, which will significantly weaken his chances of a top 4 finish, as he would now have to catch back up with the tire disadvantage. He's also now actually under pressure from losing a place to Wong Fei here. As if Wong Fei gets passed on track, which he is doing right now, and Wong Fei is passed on track, he will be passed in the results screen as well. The gap in the front now up to 6.5 seconds. Rico absolutely flying here. Totally in control of this race. And it seems like he is on his way to winning the first race of the season. After getting pole position, leading for most of the race. Thog has now disconnected from the session, which I think has caused a bit of a screen freeze as well. Meanwhile, Marco has dropped a lot of pace after his spin. Not sure if he picked up wing damage, if his tires picked up some tire wear. But he was well clear of Gilles Valentine still after the spin, so I'm not sure why he's actually caught him, if there was another incident or another mistake by Marco, or if his tires are just destroyed. But he's now within the train of, well, up to Management. Management is just outside the ES range here. Might get inside it soon though. So we have a big battle brewing here for P4. Marco, Gilles Valentine, Wong Fei and Management all in contention here, wanting to secure those 12 points for themselves and the team, and they're all on 3 seconds of penalties. Interestingly, every single driver from P2 to P7 has penalties, but nobody else. Makes for a pretty weird look at the leaderboard, where you see the penalty indicator next to those 6 drivers. And now Sully in P8 as well adds another one to that list. And Gilles Valentine absolutely flies past Marco. Wong Fei following through. Meanwhile, Sully has lost it on the extra chapel. Wong Fei goes off the track here. And that allows Management to slip back through. He goes through the grass. And he's around the outside of Wong Fei, gets squeezed out, and Wong Fei stays in P6. And now Management has lost it, but he's caught it back again. However, he is now back outside the ES range. Marco getting past Gilles Valentine on the main straight there. Not sure why you wouldn't just wait for the ES straight now. Gilles Valentine has all the everything in his favor to get back past, and now actually sends up the inside into turn 3, but I'm not sure if he went past after the extraction point. Camera is over right now. Marco and Gilles Valentine still side by side and down to the ES straight, but Gilles Valentine does have the ES, Marco does not. So surely Gilles Valentine has a good chance to move past him. Wong Fei in contention as well again. Gilles Valentine goes up the inside. Marco has to concede a position down to P5, and now under big pressure from Wong Fei, who's on the medium compound here. Tire advantage as well in Wong Fei's favor, I think. Unless the mediums have dropped off already. I don't think they have though. But Marco following very close behind Jules Valentine now. A good chance that Jules Valentine will get past both as actually Marco goes for a move through Cobbs, but has to pull out and now invites Wongfi alongside down to Magus back into contact. Mate! Almost sending both of them into the wall, but thankfully they both managed to save the car. That was very, very dangerous. And now down to the hangar straight. Jules Valentine under big pressure now as Wongfi goes past Marco actually, but they might both get past Jules Valentine. Wongfi slingshots past both of them. And Marco gets past Jules Valentine as well, so now side by side into Stowe. Jules Valentine on the inside manages to defend and Marco down into P6 there. But this battle is far from over. Look how close those three are together. Wongfi, Jules Valentine and Marco are not giving up on this fight. Meanwhile, Waste and Ewek battling over P9. Can Wongfi defend this now? They are all very low on EAS, and that is not really a factor in this fight. Jules Valentine has the most out of a bad bunch, it seems. Mannesman has absolutely nothing, so Mannesman barely even is in the EAS range. He needs these guys to make some mistakes, I think, if he wants to be in contention for a P4. Of course, his tires are also the oldest in this train. Wongfi has managed to build a 4-10 gap for the DRS straight, which is just about enough to keep him safe of Jules Valentine's attacks. But will he be safe for the final, 2.5 laps now to go? Actually, yeah, 2.5. I was correct in that. Slowly getting past Waste and Ewek following through. Ewek now hanging around the outside of Wasted through Lovefield, and he gets it done. Beautiful move by the Williams driver, securing P9. Dropping Wasted to P10, but Wasted is still within range of his penalty. We are now at the point where only Wasted and Rico have no penalties in this race. Meanwhile, Ewek having a little go at Solly down to Megas and Beckets. Jules Valentine having a look at Wongfi. His battle for P8 heating up as well. Solly, Ewek and Wasted, but Wasted has, won it already, on penalties that is. But Ewek wants to win on track here, goes past Solly, using that soft compound tire disadvantage to take P8 away from Solly. Now heading to the final 2 laps of this race, lap 25 or lap 26. And Wongfi leads Jules Valentine and Marco in this fight for P4. Meanwhile, Rico has pulled a 10-second gap to Sean Moole. And that will only get bigger once Sean Moole's 5-second penalty gets applied. So yeah, Rico currently winning by 15 seconds. Absolutely insane. Amazing drive from Rico today. And he only has 1.5 laps to go. Jules Valentine not going for a move on Wongfi. Might save his EAS for the final lap. And then have one final go at that 4th place finish. Meanwhile, slowly dropping off from Wasted. He's not able to keep up, it seems. Dropping off from Ewek. Although he has now gained significantly on this DRS straight. Maybe has burned a bit of EAS in the process. He's at about 48. Ewek at 15. Wasted at 14. But of course, Wasted can just stick behind. He doesn't have to do anything risky. If we have a look at the penalties, 5 seconds for Sean Moole and Wongfi, and 3 seconds for everyone else. That is why Jules Valentine is not bothering to actually attack Wongfi. Wongfi has 5 and Jules Valentine has 3, so Jules Valentine, and Marco as well, will jump Wongfi on penalties either way. Mannesman, I think, is outside the range of 2 seconds that he needs to be. So Jules Valentine seems... Oh, Jules Valentine now's lost it! Oh, he's caught it. Oh wow, okay. Well, that was quick. He has lost some time though to Wongfi. I thought Jules Valentine was gone there because he was fully sideways. And, well, in F122 he definitely would have been gone. There's no way catching that in that game's physics. But, yeah, F123 has made it a bit easier to catch a car after you've entered the slide. Jules Valentine is still within DRS range. And he is able to defend from Marco. We are now on the last lap of the race. Wasted has one more chance to pass Solly, who has dropped outside DRS range to Ewek. Crucial that Wasted stays within 3 seconds of Ewek if he wants that P8 finish. Solly he will have either way. He's within DRS range, Solly's not going to drop him by 3 seconds in 1 lap. But he does have 1.5 to Ewek now, so Ewek has an amazing lap, and if Wasted gets stuck behind Solly, he could be in trouble. But Rico's coming up in the final corner here to take the race win in Silverstone. The opening of the season in dominant fashion. 11 seconds on track, 16 seconds after penalties. What a race from the Aston Martin driver. Pole position, race win. Yeah, Max Verstappen-esque performance, I would say. We've seen a lot this season in real life F1, and Rico has, yeah, matched that. And Sean Moore finishes P2 here with BS Gabi, a very respectable P3 as well, rounding out the podium. I'm sure those guys are gonna be a bit annoyed that Rico seems to be so much faster than them, but Wang Fin now out of the line, drops to P6, Jules Verne P4, Marco P5, but Management P7 in the end. Ewag will be P8 over the line, Sully P9 over them, but they will both be jumped by Wasted, I think. Yes, Wasted is within 3 seconds off Ewag, so he'll be P8. And then Marcelio, the only driver who finishes without points, in P11. And there we go. That's every driver over the line, the race is done. And, well, what a drive. What a drive from Rico. Definitely my drive of the day. Game disagrees, game gives it to Marco, actually. Yeah, majorly impressive to be just that dominant. And, here we are on the podium. Rico celebrating his achievement. Of course, as well, great drives from Sean Moore and from BS Gabi to secure podiums as well. P2 and P3. But the man of the hour is Rico, with an amazing opening race for him. And has now surely announced himself as one of the favorites for the title fight this season. Of course, way too early to tell, really. I think after last season's first race in Bahrain, I called out that KSA and Rico would be the... yeah, KSA and Rico actually, so Rico as well in that race, in a very impressive opening race, would be the two drivers to watch out to, that they would be fighting for the title. And in the end, neither of them actually did, I think. Yeah, Mannesman won in the end, and neither Rico nor KSA really played much of a role towards the end of the season. But yeah, a very enjoyable opening race, lots of battles all for the field. Also interesting that the only drivers not penalties here are Rico and Wasted. Everybody else picked up at least one penalty, either a speeding penalty in the pit lane in the case of Sean Moore and Wang Fi, or a 3-second penalty for track limits in the case of everybody else. So yeah, congratulations to Rico, to Sean Moore and to BS Gabi for the podiums. I hope you enjoyed today's race. I thoroughly enjoyed it myself, and yeah, you'll see us again racing on Saturday for the British Grand Prix in Division 1. Which I think should be streamed as well. We do have commentators for Division 1 this season finally. So if they are available, we'll have that race streamed as well. Otherwise, you will see me again on commentary next week in Imola for the second round of Division 2 Season 11. And yeah, I'll end the stream here. As I said, hope you enjoyed it, and goodbye.